Hello, good evening, and welcome to today's program. My name is Tunde Disu, and this is Become a Better Man. As you can see, I'm outside again today. Today has been very, very hot, but I'm outside somewhere in London. In fact, I'm right in front of the Intercontinental Hotel near the O2 while I wait for my children to come out of the conference that they are attending. So I thought I would use the opportunity to do the program here and see how it goes. Hi, Jill. Hi, Peter. Thank you so much for joining me today. Today we're looking, or rather, we're starting a new topic, a new broad title. We're looking at personal integrity. Personal integrity. Now, integrity is one of those things that you either have it or you don't have it. But even if you don't have it, it's something that you can develop, something that you can work with. But my understanding, my conviction is that we all have a deposit, we have an element of integrity in us right from childhood, because we all have parents who instill and instructed us on what to do, how to relate, to be honest, to be truthful, and all of that. All that are attributes of integrity. And as we grow older, these attributes, they are being challenged, they're being questioned. We question them ourselves, we compromise them, we break them, we violate them, we do all of that. But ultimately, on the inside of every human being, there is always a question about integrity. There's always the challenge about, am I doing the right thing? Am I saying the truth? Am I being honest? Am I being sincere? Am I being fair? Is this the right way to do this? So there are so many facets as far as personal integrity is concerned. And so it's something that, in order for us to become a better person in ourselves, to become a better person in our families, in the society, and in the world at large, this is an element that I believe we all need to revisit constantly. In fact, all the time and every day. You are never completely complete as far as integrity is concerned. Somewhere in your life, somewhere in my life, there are still questions regarding integrity that needs to be answered, that needs to be ironed out, things that some rough edges that needs to be taken care of. So the essence of this broad topic that we're starting today is for us to not become complacent and not become laissez-faire as far as our integrity is concerned, because ultimately people will judge you not by what you say but by what they perceive as your level of integrity. So on today's program, we are starting this topic on personal integrity. Now, what is personal integrity? What is integrity? Simply put, integrity is being honest. That's all it is. Being honest. It's having a very strong moral principle or moral uprightness that guide everything that you do, everything that you say, how you comport yourself, how you carry yourself, how you relate, how you interact, everything about everything. Honesty, uprightness, moral principles, all those are pillars that hold our lives in place. And that is what integrity is all about. Integrity is the elementary value of any human being. Like I said, we had it. It was instilled in us. When we were young, when we were little and we were growing up, we were told, don't tell lies, don't steal, don't learn to share, learn to be fair to others, or helping us to learn the word that we're looking at today, integrity. Integrity, however, is a personal choice. Integrity is a personal choice that we all have to make. What do I mean by that? At every junction, at every opportunity, you have to make a choice. the choice to hold yourself to the consistency of the moral and the ethical upbringing, the ethical deposit or standards that either you that was instilled in you or you have set for yourself. We all have to make a choice. Integrity functions on the vehicle of choice, the choice that you make. The choice that you make, especially when nobody is looking, when nobody can see you, when nobody can judge you, when nobody can question you. Those are the depth and the power of your integrity is demonstrated at that point when you are free, so to say, when nobody is seeing. Somebody said, character is who you are, but reputation is what people say you are. Ultimately, a lot of us are working and striving to improve our reputations and to paint our resume with glowing accreditations and all of that. But if we will spend half of that energy working on our characters, working on our integrity, we will not need to spend time building reputation, because it will happen by itself. I like what William Shakespeare said in one of his novels, As You Like It. He said, a good wine needs no bush, which means a good product needs little or no advertisement. Same thing, a good character needs no polishing, because it will come forth. You can't cover it. It will show forth, whether it's good or bad. So integrity ultimately is a choice. It is a choice. The question is, what choice are you making today? What choice am I making today? Because ultimately, those choices will come around to make us. I said to people, I said, true freedom, the true freedom that we have as human beings is the freedom of choice. That is the only freedom that we have as human beings, the freedom of choice. Because once that choice is made, once that decision is taken, the rest is out of our control. The repercussion, the outcome of that choice is completely out of our control. So true freedom is the choice that we make. So integrity, sorry about the noise, there's a big aeroplane going overhead. Integrity is keeping yourself totally intact and uncorrupted. Is keeping yourself intact and uncorrupted. Now, I know some of you will say, well, is that really possible in this day and age, in this society where we live, in this world of today? Well, again, it comes back to what I said earlier on. It is a choice. It is a choice that we all make. Integrity is a commitment which you make with yourself. It's a contract, it's an agreement, it's a covenant that you make with yourself regarding how you relate to people, regarding how you relate to institutions, regarding how you transact your business, regarding your understanding of traditions, of culture, of the norms of the world in which we live. Yes, the world will want you will want to bend you or break you if they can, but ultimately, it is down to you and I to make the choice whether we will say yes or no to those pressures. Integrity is a matter of having proper regard for your role in the community. It's having a proper understanding and proper respect for your role, your place, your position in the community, especially where valuable and worthy ethos are concerned. It is not uncommon for us to see office holders and elected officials and the government and senior officials breaking or bending the rule to satisfy their own personal interest, to go do something that on the face of it, you see, that's another thing about integrity. The moment you cross the line, you know. You know in your heart of heart. There is an umpire on the inside of every human being. It's called the conscience. Your conscience is the umpire of your life. It will tell you when you've crossed the line. It will remind you when you are approaching the line. So integrity is a moral check on the commitments that you make and the demand for you to honor those commitments. It is a check, it's a moral demand on you regarding one, making commitments, and two, honoring those commitments. Integrity forms the building block of ethical conduct and competency, which ultimately will determine, especially when it comes to your work environment. Your integrity will speak for you when you are not there. Your integrity will defend you when you are not there. Your integrity will go before you and prepare a place for you when you are not there. Integrity is conducting your professional duties. It is conducting your professional duties and obligations with complete honesty, in conformity with the professional code of ethics and the ethos of the people or the organization that you work for. As you can see, integrity covers virtually every aspect of our lives. You can't live your life outside of the dictates and the demand of integrity. Now, sometimes people confuse integrity with ethics. I remember reading a book by John Maxwell, and the title of the book is "There is no such thing as ethics in business." There is no such thing as ethics in business. And really what the book is talking about is how do you relate, how do you handle your business transaction. But the core, the principle that was being highlighted in the book is the golden rule: treat others the way you would like to be treated. Imagine if we all live within the dictates of that principle, how wonderful the business world will be, how excellent our connections and contacts and transactions and relationships will be. So quickly, let's look at the difference between integrity and ethics. Integrity is an internal compass in your life and in my life. It's an internal system, of principles which guides your behavior and my behavior. It's a choice. Integrity is a choice rather than an obligation. Integrity is a choice rather than an obligation. Even though, as far as integrity is concerned, we are influenced again by the exposure, our upbringing, our surroundings, our experiences, and all of that. Sorry, it's a big one flying over. Sorry about that. Even though we all have this upbringing that, like I've mentioned earlier on, and the exposure and the experience and all of that, but ultimately, nobody can really enforce integrity on you. It's a choice, but that choice has to be made from the inside of you. It's a choice that you have to deliberately, consciously refuse to let go and lay hold of and hold on to, so that it will see you through in life. Integrity conveys a sense of wholeness and strength. Integrity is a demonstration of your strength, character, strength of character, strength of right upbringing, and all of that. Ethics, on the other hand, is an external system. It's an external rule. It's an external guide, principles that guides our behavior. Ethics they are rules and laws with which the environment that we are imposes upon us to operate with. Integrity is an internal compass. It's an internal choice that you make. Ethics, however, is an obligation. It is imposed on you by the environment or the circumstances that surround where you're operating. Usually, when you obey the ethics, you are rewarded openly. When you obey the laws of the organization, when you respect the law of the land, when you respect the government in place, you will be rewarded with peace, with award, with this and promotions and all of that. That is because you have followed the rules and the regulations of the organization. And that is why lately you will have noticed, if you haven't, watch out, you will soon find out. Many organizations are now spending a lot of money on training their staffs on business ethics, because you are a representative of that organization. And whatever you do that is outside the laws and the rules of that organization will ultimately tell on the organization. So while they are not too focused on your integrity, they are working on your external transaction or relationship with the people that you represent them before. So the difference between ethics and integrity is that ethics is imposed on you. It's an external rules and laws that guides your activities or what you do. Integrity, however, is an internal compass. It's a choice that you have to make. And this choice is the building blocks for this choice is what you have been trained, how you have been brought up, what you have experienced, the exposures that you have, and all of that. The core principle of integrity, however, the manifestation, for lack of better term, of integrity in anybody's life are things like compassion, dependability, generosity, fairness, honesty, kindness, loyalty, maturity, and all of that. When you see all these or some of these manifested in a person's life, transactions and attitudes and actions and decision and processing, then you know this is a person of integrity. Conversely, if those things, if majority of them are lacking in somebody's life, you can also conclude that the person lacks integrity. Integrity is what provides the inspiration to convert awareness into action. Integrity is the motivation. It's the enabler that helps us to convert what we are aware of, what we know, the training, the upbringing, the exposure that we know, the agreement that we have with our internal compass, the conscience, that, like we said before. And when we agree with that, it translates into action. And that is integrity. There's so much we can talk about regarding just trying to establish the groundwork as far as integrity is concerned. And my advice would be, like I say, you can't outgrow, you can't become saturated as far as integrity is concerned, because life will always come at you with different challenges, with different tests, with different suggestions. So you have to also constantly upgrade yourself, update yourself, put yourself in a position where your integrity is not compromised. And part of that will come down to how much information you have at your disposal and what you do with those information. Quickly, let's look at developing personal integrity. Like I said at the beginning, it is something that can be developed. It is something that can grow. It's something that can expand, because you are exposed more and more to other things, to new things, every time and every day. So there are traits of things that you can learn, and there are things that you can take on board. There are things that you can add to yourself in order for you to boost your level of personal integrity. See, one of the best ways to challenge yourself as far as integrity is concerned is the, to learn and master the art of asking yourself the right questions when the challenge or the test of integrity arises. And we're going to look at some of the questions that you can ask yourself at every point to challenge, but if nothing else, so that you can put a tick in the box of integrity as far as your life and your conduct is concerned. So quickly, let's look at some of the ways by which you can develop and improve or increase your level of integrity. The first one is you have to learn to encourage and discourage the test of integrity. There are things you can do to encourage it, and there are things you can do to discourage it. For instance, just the same way that where we have risk factor as far as your health is concerned, there are also factors that you have to discourage as far as your integrity is concerned. For instance, if you live a life that is unhealthy, you don't eat well, you don't sleep well, you don't exercise, you don't see your doctors, you don't need an angel to tell you that your health is at risk. You don't need anybody to tell you that you are toying with your life. But if on the other hand, you eat well, you sleep well, you exercise, you see your doctor, you look after your body, you treat your body with respect, again, you don't need anybody. You don't need a revelation for you to know you're living a healthy life. It's the same thing as far as your integrity is concerned. When you cross the line, you will know, because the policeman of your life, which again is your conscience, will sound the alarm, will blow the whistle, will remind you to say, you've crossed the line. A person that lacks self-esteem, a person that don't have true friends around them, a person that is constantly in one form of financial situation or another, they have a higher degree or propensity to what's the word I'm looking for? They have a higher propensity to display lack of integrity compared to somebody who has a good self-esteem, because ultimately it's a choice about you and yourself, about how you perceive. You have to see yourself in a certain way before others can see you in a certain way. For instance, in every human being, I don't care what you are, who you are, what you have achieved or attained and all of that, there is the tendency to want to have something that other people have. There is the test for you to, and I'm not talking about covetousness, I'm not even talking about greed, but there is the natural inclination for you to want something that others have. But you will agree with me that even though that natural push and need and pressure is there, we all don't yield to it. Why? Because the first thing you do is you examine yourself. You check your own self-esteem. And in most cases, the realization that what you are about to do does not match yourself, the way you see yourself, that becomes a check on how you maintain your integrity. But you see, when that self-awareness and self-esteem is lacking, anything goes. So in order for you to develop self-esteem, to grow your level of self-esteem, to improve your level of to grow your integrity, to develop, to improve your integrity, one of the questions you must always ask yourself, one of the things that you must always consider is your worth, not to anybody else, but to yourself. What is this? What is the worth of this compared to the way I see myself? And if we can do that, if you can remember that, if you can factor that in at every junction, you will realize that some of the things that you will naturally do, you don't do them. Because suddenly, the realization of your self-esteem or how you see yourself will stop you from being silly or being stupid or being just completely an incomplete. So the first thing is you must encourage the growth of your integrity by considering your self-worth, not to anybody, but to yourself. The second way by which you can grow or develop or increase your level of integrity is that you must ask yourself integrity questions. Integrity questions. Questions that ideally you don't want to ask yourself because you don't want to know the answer. You're too scared for you to even face the answer. You are you feel less as a person considering that I will have to answer this question to myself. For instance, the question like, do I believe this is the right course of action? Forget about what other people will think or what other people will say. Forget about what the society norms or what they call norms. But you ask yourself the question, do I believe this is the right course of action for me to take? Second question, am I being just, fair, and considerate by this action that I'm about to take, by this word I'm about to use, by this business I'm about to sign, by this relationship I'm about to break? Am I being just? Am I being fair? And am I being considerate? And you have to be bold enough. You have to have the strength of character to answer this question or these questions. Question number 3, will I want others to act the same way towards me? Again, the golden rule, do unto others as you want them to do to you. Would I like to be at the receiving end of this type of action, this type of interaction, this type of attitude, this right type of behavior? Would I like somebody to treat me that way? Number 3, is this the right tips? Tips as in TIPPS. Is this the right time? Is this the right intention? Is this the right person? Is this the right place? Is this the right style for me to do this? The time, the intention, the person, the place, the style. Is this right? Could I make an adjustment that will prevent or alleviate harm by this action that I'm about to take, by this word I'm about to say, by this interaction that I'm about to enter into. But most importantly, the question you must always ask yourself, how will I feel about myself afterwards? How will I feel about myself knowing that I've done this, knowing that I am going to, I've said this, knowing that I've signed this, knowing that I've done, and on and on. How would I feel about myself? But you see, most of us, we shy away from asking those questions. And that is one of the reasons why we fall into the integrity trap. Because we're not ready, we're not prepared, we're not willing, we're not committed to asking those questions of ourselves. I don't know if this is coming home to somebody out there. I don't know how you feel about what we're discussing tonight. Because in most cases, if not in all cases, this is the difference maker. This is where it matters. This is where becoming a better you becomes a personal challenge, a personal fight, a personal journey that you have to look yourself in the mirror and answer those questions. And if you're still wondering, well, I've heard you, but how will I know? What are some of the signs that will be apparent for me to know that I am growing and I'm developing and I'm improving in my integrity? Well, it's simple. Again, using our health analogy like I did some few minutes ago. When you live well, you eat well, you sleep well, you exercise well, you have a good relationship, you will know. It's the same thing. When your level of integrity is improving, you will know. And these are some of the ways you will know. Are you being open to sincere feedback? Remember, I said sincere feedback. I'm not talking about the feedback that you want to hear. Good, bad, or ugly. Are you open to feedback, criticism, other people's opinion? Are you open? Or are you lured by yourself and the all-knowing and the all-everything, all by yourself? Do you accept personal responsibilities? Or are you the type that always finds somebody else to blame, something else to point your fingers at? Do you accept personal responsibility? How do you balance your need with the need of others? Or are you one of those me, myself, and I, self-centered, selfish, self-focused person? Or do you consider other people in what you do and how you do them? Do you practice understanding? Do you practice compassion? Do you make it a point of duty to hear somebody else's view and try to put yourself in their shoes and see things from their side? Are you compassionate? Or are you just can't be bothered, don't care, as long as you have your way? When you are in a jam, when you don't know what to do you seek other people's advice? Or are you too proud to ask for help? Do you respect the views of others, especially when those views are different from yours? How do you feel about it? How do you respond? How do you take it? How do you process it? Do you act with integrity? Do you act? Are you acting? Would you act with integrity even when it is not convenient for you? When it is hard on your flesh? When you stand to lose, you don't stand to gain anything, would you still choose the path of integrity. When you make an agreement with others, do you keep your end of that agreement? Or do you say, well, since they're not here, I might as well do what I like? Do you keep your end of an agreement? Can you be held to your word? Do you know what the difference is between humor and hostility? And do you respect other people's space and time and views? See, these are things that on a daily basis we come across. On a daily basis we interact with. On a daily basis we have to handle, we have to relate to. But in most cases we don't see them as part of our integrity growth point. But they are. And I hope by this program today, you're beginning to see, and that becomes a reference point for you when you have the opportunity, like we all do every day, to relate to others, to think about others, to think about yourself, to challenge yourself, to question yourself. Ladies and gentlemen, somebody said integrity is like the weather. Integrity is like the weather. Everybody talks about it, but nobody knows what to do with it. Nobody knows what to do about it. For instance, today was 35 degrees. I mean, that was hot. But that's all you can say. It's hot. The best you can do is sit in an air-conditioned car or whatever. It doesn't stop the sun from still shining at that same temperature. And it's the same thing with integrity. We all talk about it. We demand it. We ask for it. We expect it. We query it. We challenge it in others. But what about ourselves? What about in our own lives? We all want more. We want people to display more integrity, to exercise more integrity, to exhibit more integrity. We demand of it from our leaders. We expect it from our elected officials. We expect it from our spouses and our children and our friends and our colleagues and our employers and everything. But let the charity of integrity, let it begin at home. Let it start with you and I. Let us take on this mantle today to say, as for me, I will live. I choose to live a life of integrity. I choose to live, to make my life count, especially on the principle of integrity. In closing, quickly, let's look at some examples of everyday integrity tests that we face. And all the examples of integrity on a daily basis. You keep your promises, even if it takes extra effort on your part to keep them. But keep your promise. If you go to a store and you buy something and the cashier gives you a change that is more than you should get, and you walk down the road and then realize, do you go back to that store and say, I think you made a mistake? Or do you think, oh, that's a blessing of the Lord, as a favor of God? Really? Forgetting that cashier is going to be short at the end of the day could cost that cashier his or her job. Part of your daily integrity test and daily integrity journey is that never betray a friend's trust, even if you get in trouble. Even when you get in trouble, if somebody has entrusted you, unless it's something illegal, But once a friend, a colleague, an acquaintance has entrusted you with something, the operative word there is trust. Don't betray it. Don't gossip or talk badly about somebody, especially behind them. If you have an issue, confront them. It's a demonstration of your integrity. Yeah, they may not like you for saying it to their face, but at least you're not gossiping it behind them. Another one is, don't let somebody else take the blame for something that you did bad. Put your hand up and say, I'm sorry, it's me. It's me. There is still a place for honor. When it is obvious to you that something is gone sour, don't pretend. Don't try to string it along. Just call a spade a spade. It's a test. It's a demonstration of integrity. At work, don't spend the working hours on your phone, on your Facebook or LinkedIn or this or that. That is a contractual hour between you and your employer. Use it for the job you're employed to do. Show respect to co-workers and to your colleagues. Yes, we all have different strength and different level of understanding and maturity. Don't put others down just because you feel they're not on the same level as you are. No, don't do that. Find out what your company policies and procedures are and follow them. If you don't understand, ask your boss or your line manager or the HR, the human resources department. Because remember, ignorance is not an excuse as far as laws are concerned. When you make a mistake in the office, at work, own it. Own it. When you're making a business deal with somebody, don't just give them half of the deal or show them half of your hand. Put everything on the table. Put everything on the table. Then there'll be no surprises down the line. And if by any means your organization, your employer, or somebody above you, or somebody you respect, or somebody you look up to, if they ask you to do something that is, this is violating my conscience, my integrity, it's violating the ethos and the ethics of this organization, don't do it. Don't do it. Well, it might cost you your job. Well, what would you rather have? A job that you're forever constantly looking over your shoulder, where you can't sleep at night, you are constantly fighting yourself because you know you violated your own integrity. It's not worth it. It is not worth it. Yes, there will be pain. Yes, there could be cries. Yes, there will be this and that. But guess what? You are better off walking away with your integrity intact than staying with no integrity at all. Because the same people for whom you violated your integrity today will tomorrow turn around and accuse you of it. Take advantage of you with it. And it'll be too late for you then to say no, because they already have one over you. Integrity. Integrity. Integrity is a choice. Integrity is a choice. Integrity is a choice that you and I must make all the time, every day, for ourselves. Because ultimately, you want to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and like what you see. I hope this has helped somebody. We are just scratching the surface of this all-important topic. There is still so much to say, so much to cover, so much to dig up and to examine, to challenge ourselves. But let's start with where we are tonight. Ask yourself those questions. Challenge yourself. Question yourself. Fight yourself if you have to. Because ultimately, it will be worth it. It will be worth it. If the goal is for us to become better men and women, these are some of the bone stretching, muscle straining things that we must deal with in order for us to attain the goal of becoming better men and better women. Thank you so much for your time. I hope tonight's program has helped you in a way or two. I know it has raised a lot of questions and a lot of, I'm not sure about that. Feel free, drop me a line. Ask me a question. I'm not saying I'm all that myself. I'm not saying I'm there. I'm dealing with all this myself too. So it's not like I'm Mr. Perfect. No. We are on this journey together, you remember. And we're not going to stop until we reach our final destination. So that everybody can look at us and say, surely, these are better men and better women. So until next week again, when we meet for the continuation of this topic, thank you for your time. Appreciate it and I honor you. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Bye-bye.